Hello students, welcome to the online classes of chemistry. In this video, we'll study the chapter of final term. The name of the chapter is Language of Chemistry. We have already studied this chapter during Zoom classes, so quickly in this video we'll revise the chapter. So let's start. Chemical reactions. You would need many words to describe a chemical change in ordinary language, but you can do so with only a few letters or numbers in the language of chemistry. J. Berzelius laid the foundation of this language in the early 19th century. It gradually developed into the present form. In this language, an atom is represented by a symbol, a molecule by a formula, and a chemical change is represented by a chemical equation. Chemical reactions. We know that chemical change is a change in which new substance with new properties formed. A chemical change is also known as chemical reaction. Thus, we can say that any change that involves the transformation of matter into new substances is called a chemical reaction. Most of the chemical reactions are permanent and irreversible, and they cannot be reversed under normal conditions. Heat or any other form of energy is usually absorbed or produced during a chemical reaction. We have studied about many natural chemical reactions such as photosynthesis is there, digestion, respiration, rotting of food and rusting. Now we'll study some other examples of chemical reactions. The first example is reaction of hydrogen and oxygen to form water. Here hydrogen combines with oxygen and a new substance called water is formed. The second example is reaction of nitrogen and hydrogen to form ammonia. So here two substances, nitrogen and hydrogen, they combine with each other and they form a new substance called ammonia. The third example is reaction of zinc with hydrochloric acid to form zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. Here zinc combines with hydrochloric acid and two new substances form, that is zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. The fourth example is burning of magnesium ribbon to form magnesium oxide. Now when magnesium burns in the presence of oxygen, so a new substance called magnesium oxide is formed. Reactants and products. In a chemical reaction, the substance or substances that undergo a change are called reactants, and the new substance or substances that are formed as a result of chemical reaction are called products. Suppose in a chemical reaction, substances A and B react to form new substances C and D. Now in this chemical reaction, A and B are the reactants and C and D are the products. Now we'll study about the other examples of reactants and products. Now here carbon and oxygen, they combine with each other, and when they combine they form a new substance, carbon dioxide. So initially the substances which combine with each other or that undergo a change, that is carbon and oxygen. So carbon and oxygen, here they are reactants, and the new substance which is formed, carbon dioxide, this is the product. In the next example, sodium and chlorine. When sodium and chlorine reacts with each other, then a new substance called sodium chloride is formed. So here sodium and chlorine are the reactants, and the new substance formed, that is sodium chloride, is the product. The next example, methane and oxygen. When they combine with each other, two new substances are formed, carbon dioxide and water. So methane and oxygen are the reactants, and carbon dioxide and water, which the new substances are formed, are the products. Chemical equations. Chemical reactions are represented by equations. When a chemical reaction is represented by writing the names of the reactants and the products, it is called a chemical or word equation. The arrow in between the reactants and the products indicates the direction in which the reaction occurs. So let's study about one example. When sodium chloride reacts with silver nitrate, when these two substances combine, two new substances called sodium nitrate and silver chloride are formed. Here, these two substances, sodium chloride and silver nitrate, they are the reactants, and the two new substances formed, that is sodium nitrate and silver chloride, are the products. So here we are writing the names of the reactants and products. So this is a chemical equation. This is a chemical equation, and this arrow represents the direction of the chemical equation in which the reaction occurs. So always this reaction occurs in this direction. From reactants, the products are formed. Now next we'll study about the conditions necessary for chemical reactions. Usually for chemical reaction to take place, certain conditions are necessary. So some of them are, the first condition which is necessary is contact between the reactants. For any chemical reaction to take place, the reactants need to be in contact with each other. For example, zinc needs to be in contact with hydrochloric acid to react with it and form zinc chloride and release hydrogen gas. So when we want any substances to react with each other, the reactants need to be in contact with each other. The second condition is solution form of reactants. For many chemical reaction to take place, the reactants need to be in the form of solutions. That is, they need to be dissolved in water. For example, sodium chloride and silver nitrate, they react with each other only when they are dissolved in water. So for some chemical reactions, the reactants need to be dissolved in water, or they need to be in the solution form. Now the third condition is heat, light or electric current. Some chemical reactions takes place only when energy is supplied to the reactants in the form of heat, in the form of light or electric current. For example, magnesium reacts with oxygen only on heating. So we are providing it the heat energy. Then hydrogen and oxygen react with each other and form water only on passing electric current through them. So for few chemical reactions, energy is supplied in the form of heat, light or electric current. The fourth condition is presence of catalyst. Some chemical reactions occur in the presence of a substance called a catalyst. A catalyst alters the speed of chemical reaction but does not participate in it. For example, when oxygen is prepared in the laboratory, potassium chlorate is heated in the presence of manganese dioxide. Now, manganese dioxide does not participate in the reaction. It will act as a catalyst, and when it is heated in the presence of manganese dioxide, potassium chloride is formed and oxygen gas is formed. And here, manganese dioxide speeds up the reaction. It only speeds up the reaction but does not take part in the reaction. So manganese dioxide in this case is the catalyst here. So some of the conditions such as heat or catalyst which are required for a chemical reaction. So for few cases, presence of catalyst is required. So with this topic, we end this video here, and in the next video we'll continue with the chapter.